We all know that silhouette, that 6 foot tall, pack hunting, that door opening monster from the movies.
Oh, wow.
It's, it's arguably the most famous dinosaur villain in pop culture history. But I've been digging through the source material we pulled for today, and we've got everything from Gobi Desert expedition logs to biomechanics labs, and the creature in the fossil record is almost unrecognizable.
It really is. It's a case of mistaken identity on just a massive scale.
Yeah.
If you met the real animal in a dark alley,
Mhm.
or more accurately, a dark sand dune, you wouldn't be looking up at a man-sized lizard.
No.
You'd be looking down at something that looks like a very angry, very lethal bird.
And that's really the mission for this deep dive, right? We're not just debunking a movie. We want to reconstruct the actual organism, Velociraptor, from the ground up.
Exactly, from the first find in 1923 to studies from just last year.
Okay, so let's start with the name. It sounds fast. It sounds dangerous. Velociraptor.
And it's both. The name is pure Latin. You have
Yep.
velox, which means swift, and raptor, which means robber or plunderer.
The swift thief.
The swift thief. It's perfect.
It is a great name. But I was reading through the history, and we almost didn't get it. The guy who named it, Henry Fairfield Osborn, he had another idea first.
That's right, yeah. In a popular press article, before the official paper came out in 1924, he actually called it Oviraptor Djadochta.
Oviraptor. That sounds way too close to Oviraptor, the egg thief.
It does. It just doesn't have the same punch, does it?
Not at all. I'm glad he changed his mind.
Me too. Fortunately, by the time the formal description was published, he'd settled on Velociraptor mongoliensis. And that's the type species, the one from the Djadochta Formation in Mongolia.
And to be clear, when we say Velociraptor, we're pretty much always talking about V. mongoliensis, but you
Yeah.
mentioned there's a second species.
Yes, very briefly, Velociraptor osmolska. It was described much later, in 2008, from material found over in China. It's very similar, but you see some distinct differences in the upper jawbone, the maxilla.
So the genus was a little more diverse than just one animal.
A little, yeah. But for our reconstruction today, Mongoliensis is our gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
We just have so much more fossil evidence for it.
Okay, so we've got the swift thief. Now let's tackle the elephant, or I guess the giant lizard in the room. The size. The movie version is looking a person right in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at these measurements, that's just physically impossible, isn't it?
It was a complete fabrication. The real animal was.
Yeah.
It was small. We're talking about a creature that was maybe, 1.5 to 2 meters long total?
See, 2 meters sounds long, though. That's over 6 feet.
It is, but you have to account for the tail. The tail makes up a huge portion of that length. It's like a balancing rod.
Okay.
So in terms of height,
Mm-hmm.
what you would actually see standing next to it, it was only about half a meter high at the hip.
Half a meter. So knee height on me.
Knee height, exactly. We're talking about something the size of a large turkey.
A turkey.
Or maybe a coyote if you want a mammal comparison, but way lighter. The weight estimates put it somewhere between 14 and 19 kilograms.
Wait. 14 to 19 kilos. That's like 30 to 40 pounds.
30 to 40 pounds, yeah.
My golden retriever is 70 pounds. You're telling me the ultimate movie-killing machine is half the size of my dog.
A very lightweight, very agile dog armed with serrated teeth and, those giant sickle claws. But yes, the mass is small. It's built for speed and precision, not brute force.
So how did we get from a 30-pound knee-high predator to the monster in the movies? I get Hollywood exaggerates, but this feels like they just invented a whole new animal.
Well, that's because, in a way, they did. Or rather, the author of the book did.
Michael Crichton.
Michael Crichton. This is a fascinating story. It all comes down to a paleontologist named John Ostrom and his work on a different dinosaur, Deinonychus.
Deinonychus, that's the North American cousin, right? Terrible claw.
Correct. And Deinonychus was discovered in the 60s. It was bigger, it was meaner, and it matched the size of the movie raptors almost perfectly.
And Crichton knew about this.
He met with Ostrom several times while he was writing the novel. He basically took Deinonychus, the size, the aggression, the pack dynamics, and used it as his model.
But he didn't use the name.
No. He just thought Velociraptor sounded, and I quote, more dramatic.
That's amazing. So he stole the stats of one dinosaur and slapped a cooler name on it.
Pretty much. And the funny thing is, just as they were filming the movie, paleontologists uncovered an even bigger raptor.
Oh, I see the note here. Utah raptor.
Utah raptor. which was huge, even bigger than the movie Monsters.
Mm.
One of the special effects artists has this famous quote where she said, "We built it and then they discovered it."
So nature caught up to Hollywood.
In a way, yeah. But the damage was done. The pop culture image was set.
Okay, so the size is wrong. The name is technically borrowed. And then there's the look. The movies gave us these scaly reptilian things. But there's the 2007 study here by Alan Turner that says that's just completely wrong, too.
Oh, it's definitively wrong. There's no debate on this one.
Oh.
Turner and his team were examining the ulna. That's one of the forearm bones of a velociraptor specimen.
Okay.
And they found quill knobs.
Explain what a quill knob actually is. Like, what are we seeing on the bone?
So in a modern bird, the big flight feathers on the wing are anchored to the bone by ligaments. And these ligaments create little bumps or knobs on the surface of the bone.
Attachment points.
Exactly. Finding these on a dinosaur fossil is the smoking gun. It means Velociraptor had large, complex, veined feathers on its arms. It had wings.
Well, you just said it was 40 pounds with short arms. It couldn't fly, surely.
Oh, absolutely not. The biomechanics just don't work. The arms are way too short to generate the lift it would need.
See, this is where I get a little stuck. Why would evolution bother giving you a full set of wings if you aren't going to take off? It feels, I don't know, inefficient.
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? There are a few ideas. One is display, for attracting a mate. Another is for brooding, using the wings to cover a nest. But the most exciting one relates to how it moved.
Go on.
It's a hypothesis called WARE, wing-assisted incline running.
I think I've seen videos of this with birds, like baby partridges or something.
Yes, exactly. If you watch bird chicks that can't fly yet, they'll run up steep surfaces like a tree trunk, and they'll flap their wings like crazy.
Right.
The flapping isn't to lift them up. It's to push them down into the surface. It increases the traction in their feet so they don't slip.
So let's picture our velociraptor. It's in the Gobi Desert, which we know is full of sand dunes. It's chasing something.
It hits a steep dune face, and instead of scrambling and sliding back down, it starts flapping those feathered arms. The aerodynamic force pins it to the sand, giving it the grip to just run straight up a 45-degree incline.
That is a wild image. A killer turkey using its wings to get better grip. It's practical, but it's a long way from the movie monster.
It is. But I'd argue what it actually did with its weapons is far more interesting. And to understand that, we have to talk about the fighting dinosaurs.
This is the famous one, the fossil found in 1971. The Velociraptor and a Protoceratops locked in combat.
It is a perfect snapshot of violence. You have the predator, Velociraptor, and the prey, a sheep-sized herbivore called Protoceratops. They are literally frozen mid-battle.
And the raptor has its sickle claw. Where is it?
It's embedded deep in the throat of the Protoceratops. And the Protoceratops, in turn, has clamped down its powerful beak on the raptor's arm and broken it.
And they were just buried like that.
Instantly. The theory is a sand dune collapsed on top of them, a sudden landslide of sand that preserved them in that exact moment.
Wow. So that tells us what they hunted, but the how. That's where the debate comes in. The movies show them using that toe claw to disembowel their prey.
The great disemboweling myth.
But I'm looking at a study here where they tested a mechanical claw on a pork belly.
They did. For a BBC documentary, they built a robotic raptor leg and swiped it at a pig carcass to see if it would slash it open.
And did it?
It punctured, it punched a deep hole, but it didn't slice. And when you look at the claw's anatomy, that makes perfect sense. The inner curve is rounded. It's a pickaxe, not a razor blade.
So it's not a slasher, it's a piercing weapon.
It's a precision instrument. And in that fighting dinosaur's fossil, where is the claw? It's in the throat. It was targeting vital organs. The jugular, the carotid artery, the trachea. It wasn't trying to gut the animal, it was trying to turn off the lights.
But that brings me back to the size. If I'm a 30-pound animal and I jump on a 200-pound Protoceratops and just stick a claw in its neck, it's just going to thrash me off. How do you stay on?
And that, right there, is the key question that leads to the most compelling model we have for how these things hunted. It's called RPR.
RPR.
Raptor Prey Restraint. It was proposed by Denver Fowler and his team back in 2011.
Okay, break that down for me. Raptor prey restraint.
Fowler looked at modern birds of prey, hawks, eagles, that kind of thing. When a hawk catches a rabbit, it doesn't just bite it once. It lands on top of it. It uses its body weight to pin the prey to the ground, and it sinks its talons in to get a death grip.
So the claws are like grappling hooks.
They are grappling hooks, exactly. And the foot anatomy of Velociraptor is incredibly similar to modern hawks. That big sickle claw is a primary anchor. They would leap onto the back of their prey, sink that claw in, and just ride it, using their weight to pin it down.
That sounds incredibly dangerous. You're riding a bucking bronco.
It is, and this is where the wings come back into the picture. Remember where? Flapping for traction.
Yeah.
Fowler's team suggests the wings served another crucial function during the kill: stability.
So like a tightrope walker using a pole to balance?
Precisely that. As the prey animal is thrashing and bucking, the velociraptor's on top, flapping its wings, using that aerodynamic force and drag to keep itself upright. They're flapping stabilizers.
So the wings aren't for flying, they're for staying mounted on a dying animal.
That's surprisingly dark.
It gets a bit darker, because they aren't killing with a single crushing bite and they have the prey pinned down. The RPR model suggests they probably started eating the animal while it was still alive.
Oh.
Modern hawks do this. They restrain the prey and just begin to feed, waiting for shock and blood loss to finish the job. That's gruesome, but it's very efficient.
That really puts the weak bite force stat into perspective. I saw that here, only 304 newtons. It seems pathetic compared to a T-Rex.
It's weak if you're trying to crush bone, yeah. But they didn't need to. Their teeth are serrated. If the claws are doing the holding, the mouth just has to strip away flesh. It's a saw, not a vice. Think Komodo dragon.
Okay, so we have a solitary hunter pinning its prey, flapping to balance, eating it alive.
Yeah.
But I have to ask about the pack, the clever girl moment. Is there any evidence for that?
And this is where I have to break the last remaining hearts of the movie fans. For Velociraptor specifically, the evidence for pack hunting is, well, it's effectively zero. Zero. Not even a little.
In the Djadochta Formation, velociraptor fossils are almost always found alone. We just don't find those mass grave sites with multiple raptors attacking a single prey item, which is what you'd expect.
So where did the idea come from?
From Deinonychus again, the American cousin. There are sites where Deinonychus have been found in groups, but for the Mongolian velociraptor, it seems to have been a lone wolf.
Or a lone lethal turkey.
A lone lethal nocturnal turkey.
Right, the eyes. Tell me about the scleral rings. Those are the bony rings in the eye socket.
They are, and the size of the opening in those rings tells you a lot about how much light the eye can let in. For Velociraptor, the rings suggest an eye that was adapted for low-light conditions. It was a night hunter.
Which makes sense for a desert environment. Avoid the heat of the day.
Precisely. And what's interesting is that their prey, Protoceratops, shows a pattern of being cathemeral active in short bursts, day or night, so that fighting dinosaurs battle probably happened at dawn or twilight, or maybe even under a full moon.
So let's wrap all this up. The Hollywood version was a human-sized, scaly, pack-hunting genius that could open doors. The reality
is a solitary, nocturnal, feather-covered predator. It weighs about as much as a coyote. It ambushes prey in the dunes, pins it down with hawk-like claws, flaps its wings to stay balanced, and then begins to eat it.
You know, that feels more real, more visceral somehow. The mechanics of it, the flapping to stay on top of a struggling animal, it makes it feel like a real animal, not just a movie monster.
I think so too. Biology is almost always weirder and more interesting than fiction.
Before we go, I want to circle back to that RPR model one last time. You mentioned something in our chat before we started about the connection between that killing motion and the evolution of flight itself.
Right. This is one of those ideas that just, it's so compelling. If you think about that motion, a feathered arm flapping to create a stabilizing downward force, that motion is remarkably similar to the power stroke of a bird in flight.
Wait, so you're saying that the arm movement that allows birds to fly today might have started as a way for dinosaurs to kill things more effectively?
It's a very strong hypothesis. Evolution repurposes things. A flapping stroke developed to keep a predator stable on a thrashing victim could, over millions of years, be refined and co-opted into a stroke that generates lift.
So when you look at a pigeon taking off in the park,
you might be seeing the distant, repurposed echo of a predator holding down its dinner.
That is a heavy thought to leave us on. The line between death and flight is thinner than we think.
Nature never wastes a good mechanism.
Well, thank you for this deep dive. This has been incredible.
My pleasure.